Dian tuh, Dian udah, hah? Terus banyak isinya, duit aku tuh, terus berapa namanya? Betul belum dah?
Assalamualaikum Bu Nurul.
Waalaikumsalam Pak Ari. Terima
Ya.
kasih sudah hadir. Hai Bob.
Yeah, assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay. Good night over there, Bob. Yeah. Is it night over there?
Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Okay, so it is morning in here in Indonesia.
Great. Good morning.
Yeah, okay, morning.
Did you have your coffee yet?
No, I never drink coffee in the morning.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Hello, Ferdous. Assalamualaikum. Still mute.
Waalaikumsalam. Hi, how are you?
Okay, I'm great. Thank you. What about you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for Bob and Ferdous that this is your second time, yeah?
Yes, it
Giving
is, yeah.
us enlightenment in here. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we have 1 minute left, yeah, before we start our forum today.
I guess me and Bob on American time, so we're on time.
Are most of the participants lecturers or students?
Students and also lecturers, but most of them are students of educational students, actually. English education. Some of them are teacher and also lecturer.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to figure out how to add the virtual background.
See.
There is an option, Bob. Next to your page, there is 3 dots. If you click to these dots, you can see like one of the options says choose visual background.
Okay, I'm in that. Now I just need to load. I need to load the background I just got sent. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think I'm making some progress here.
Good job.
It seems that you can sleeping after this, yeah? Because actually it is a time for sleeping, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've added the background, but I don't think that that's very good.
I think you choose the blur choice. Like there is 2 choice and one of them blur your background and the other one choose a visual one. So there is 3 options. The first one is blur my background. I think this is the one you choose. And there is the second one, choose a virtual background.
Where is the blur my background?
It's from the same window, the 3 dots.
Oh, okay. All right, let me okay, we're having some fun, you know, we're building skills. Okay, choose virtual background, and then I see general video, audio, share screen, backgrounds and filters. I have a green screen, mirror my video, studio effects, mustache and beard, lip color. I don't see. Let me Google this real quick. Blur my background.
Sometimes here different between among device, yeah. Like myself, I use a virtual background.
I think you choose the right one.
Funny. Well, luckily my current background is perfectly fine because my wife keeps her office very clean.
I'm sorry, Ma'am Nurul. Can I begin now?
Can we start now, Bob and Ferdous?
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be Master of Ceremony for today's occasion. I'm Hana Amanda. On behalf of the committee, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. We appreciate you for taking your time of your busy schedules to join us today. So, welcome to the international webinar, Innovation of Challenge of Teaching and Learning in 4.0 Era, held by English Education Study Program, Faculty of Teaching and Educational Science, Assyafi'iyah Islamic University. To begin this program, we would like to invite Dr. Andes Ari Sumitro, Ph.D., as the Dean of Faculty of Teaching and Educational Science, Islamic Assyafi'iyah University, to deliver his speech officially open the event. For Pak Ari, time is yours.
Terima kasih saya sampaikan kepada moderator. Hey Bob, Eckhart, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Ya, baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih atas kesempatan yang diberikan kepada saya. Pertama-tama saya sampaikan permohonan maaf bahwa saya akan menyampaikan kata sambutan singkat saya di area parkir Rumah Sakit Bayangkara Brimob Kelapa II. Ini tadi dari jam 6 saya sudah ambil nomor, sudah menyerahkan berkas, ini tinggal nunggu dipanggil. Sementara saya sekarang di dalam mobil ya, ini tepat di depan saya ini ada UGD, di sebelah kanan ada ruang jenazah, sebelah kanan saya ada, sampingnya ada apotek ya. Jadi mohon maaf ini mungkin tidak bisa menyampaikan kata sambutan di dalam ruangan formal. Baik, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'il mursalin, Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain, amma ba'du. Yang saya hormati Prodi Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Islam Assyafi'iyah, Ibu Nurul Hasanah Fatihah MPD. Yang saya hormati Sekretaris Program Studi Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris FKIP UIA, Bapak Hanafi Wibowo MPD, yang insya Allah hari ini akan bertindak sebagai moderator. Yang saya hormati Bapak Ibu dosen pendidikan bahasa Inggris dan mungkin ada beberapa dosen dari luar Universitas Islam Assyafi'iyah yang mohon maaf tidak bisa saya sebutkan satu persatu namanya. Yang saya hormati dan saya banggakan para narasumber seminar internasional. Dear Mr. Bob Eckhart and Miss Ferdous Bakhreibah, thank you for your willingness to be a speaker in today's webinar. Terima kasih kepada para narasumber. Ya. Juga yang saya hormati semua peserta seminar internasional, khususnya para mahasiswa PSPBI, FKIP, wabil khusus para mahasiswa yang mulai hari ini, besok dan lusa, insya Allah akan menyampaikan hasil riset mininya kepada kita semua. Juga saya hormati ini mungkin sudah bergabung Ibu Sidrah Apriani dari Universitas Negeri Makassar dan Ibu Tryanti Abdulrahman dari Universitas Islam Assyafi'iyah. Alhamdulillah lengkap dan sempurna. Saya kira seminar internasional ini akan dihadiri oleh dua narasumber dari negara luar, yaitu Mr. Bob Eckhart dari USA dan Miss Ferdous Bakhreibah dari Arab Saudi. Puji syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala bahwa hari ini kita dapat bertatap maya dalam acara seminar internasional secara online yang diselenggarakan oleh program studi pendidikan bahasa Inggris Fakultas Keguruan dan Ilmu Pendidikan Universitas Islam Assyafi'iyah. Pertama-tama tentu saya atas nama FKIP mengucapkan terima kasih dan apresiasi yang setinggi-tingginya atas partisipasi semua pihak dalam acara seminar internasional. Perlu saya sampaikan bahwa acara seminar hari ini dan besok ini sebagai rangkaian ya, kegiatan rutin PSPBI FKIP yaitu Research Expo yang ke-7 ya, sekali lagi yang ke-7. Alhamdulillah setiap tahun secara rutin dilaksanakan. Insya Allah topik seminar internasional hari ini akan membahas tentang inovasi dan tantangan pembelajaran di era 4.0, Innovation and Challenge of Teaching and Learning in 4.0. Sebuah pilihan topik yang bagus dan tepat untuk disampaikan dan didiskusikan hari ini dan besok oleh para narasumber yang saya pikir sangat mumpuni dan memiliki pengalaman di bidang pendidikan, khususnya pendidikan 4.0. Bapak, Ibu, dan saudara-saudara yang saya hormati dan banggakan, masa pandemi yang telah berlangsung kurang lebih 3 tahun, telah mengubah segala sendi-sendi aspek kehidupan manusia, baik sendi ekonomi, sosial, kesehatan, termasuk pendidikan. Hal ini memaksa, tanda petik, semua orang di jagat raya ini mau tidak mau, suka tidak suka harus mengubah perilaku dalam kehidupannya. Yaitu suatu kehidupan yang tidak bisa lepas dari teknologi digital. Perkembangan teknologi saat ini telah memasuki generasi yang keempat. Perkembangan teknologi informasi tidak dapat terhindarkan, termasuk di dunia pendidikan. Pendidikan dan teknologi informasi harus sejalan guna terciptanya pendidikan yang berkualitas. Di era 4.0, guru harus menguasai berbagai sumber yang bisa digunakan sebagai penunjang proses pembelajaran. Guru saat ini tuntut tidak hanya mengajar, tidak hanya memberikan informasi pengetahuan kepada peserta didik, namun guru harus menguasai sumber-sumber dan mengarahkan agar siswa bisa belajar dari banyak sumber. Ini guru berfungsi sebagai penghubung sumber belajar. Selain itu, guru juga bisa menciptakan pembelajaran mandiri melalui apa yang disebut dengan blended learning, yaitu suatu pembelajaran yang tidak hanya berorientasi pada pembelajaran tatap muka, tapi bisa dipadukan atau disandingkan dengan pembelajaran online dengan memanfaatkan teknologi saat ini. Jadi menjadi guru saat ini terus terang bukan hal yang mudah. Ya, banyak inovasi, kreativitas dari calon guru yang harus dikembangkan. bahkan harus ditumbuh kembangkan. Nah, nanti para narasumber yang saya pikir sudah mumpuni akan memberikan informasi secara gamblang. Bagaimana menjadi guru efektif di era industri 4.0. Bapak, Ibu, dan saudara yang saya hormati, untuk melakukan proses pembelajaran era 4.0, tadi sudah saya katakan tidak mudah, banyak hambatan atau tantangan yang dialami khususnya oleh para guru di sekolah. Di antaranya kemampuan dan kemampuan. Ini kemauan juga penting. Karena kalau tidak ada kemauan, tidak akan muncul kemampuan. Ya. Di dalam menggunakan teknologi secara aktif, kreatif, dan inovatif dalam proses pembelajaran. Banyak hal yang menjadi tantangan. Ya, di antaranya kaitannya dengan kurikulum berubah. Ya, belum fasilitas, hardware, software, ya, kemudian juga dana juga mempengaruhi. Belum juga faktor keseimbangan, keselarasan, keselamatan, keamanan, hak cipta, dan plagiarisme. Untuk itulah, Bapak, Ibu, dan saudara-saudara sekalian, hari ini, besok, dan lusa, ya, akan disampaikan oleh para narasumber. Kemudian juga nanti sebagian mahasiswa semester 6 kalau tidak salah akan memaparkan hasil riset, ya, hasil penelitian mininya kepada kita semua. Sekali lagi saya apresiasi kepada para mahasiswa semester 6 yang akan menyampaikan hasil penelitiannya. Ya. We hope that today's and tomorrow international seminar will run smoothly and be useful for all of us. Amin ya robbal alamin. Demikian sambutan singkat saya. Lebih kurangnya mohon maaf. Terima kasih. Wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, now we would like to invite the honorable speaker and moderator, Bob Eckhart and Ellis Tamela. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Master of Ceremony. Is my voice clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. Good morning to all dear participants. Respectable the Dean of FKIP UIA, Bapak Dr. Andes Ari Sumitro, MM MPD, the Chair Lady of English Department, Ibu Nurul Hasanah Fajaria, MPD, the Secretary of English Department, Bapak Hanafi Wibowo, MPD, Robert Eckhart as our speaker for this session. Good evening, Bob. Nice to meet you. Hello. My name is Ellis, and I will be the moderator for today. Thank you. Mrs. Ferdous Bakhreibah, the Honorable all lecturers of English Department, and all participants in this Zoom meeting. Thank you very much for joining our seminar today. Welcome to the first day of 2-day series of international seminar held by English Education Department, Universitas Islam Assyafi'iyah, entitled Innovation and Challenge on Teaching and Learning in 4.0 Era. For this first session, it will be guided by me, Ellis Tamela, as the moderator. While for the speaker is Robert Eckhart. He is a 2-time Fulbright Scholar, Belarus 2018 and Moldova 2022. He has completed his grants as a visiting professor in the Teaching Training Institute at Minsk State Linguistics University in 2018 and at Belarusian State University in the Economics and Management Department teaching business communication. He is also the program manager for summer English communication programs in China, Indonesia, and Turkey from 2004 to 2019, the American director of the WHO OSU Center for American Culture at the campus of Wuhan University from 2012 to 2018. And from 2013 to 2015, he taught at Ohio University and was the executive director of the combined ESL programs. While from 2019 to 2020, he was a guest lecturer at the Sorbonne Nouvelle. I'm so sorry, Bob, if I
I know. This is just too long. It's
Okay.
too much.
Okay, so this is given from the committee, so I just read and to
Yeah,
introduce.
you make me seem too old.
Oh.
You know.
But you look young, Bob.
Thank you. I dye my hair.
Okay, and dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, before the
let's
presentation begins,
Yeah.
I would like to inform how the presentation will be delivered. There will be two parts. First, Bob will be invited to present the material for about 30 minutes. And after that, there will be Q&A session. You can type your question in the Zoom meeting chat, or you can click on the reaction feature at the bottom of your screen and choose raise hand if you'd like to ask directly. Without further ado, we would like to invite Robert Eckhart. 30 minutes, Bob. Thank you very much. Time is yours.
Great. Thank you for all those introductions. You know what? I am getting a little bit sleepy over here. It's been a long day.
Okay.
But I'm excited. I'm
Mhm.
excited to talk. I'm excited to talk to you guys. I have very fond memories of a trip I took to Indonesia in 2014. And I went to many different places. Including, I'll show you some pictures, but Gorontalo, Padang, Surabaya, Jakarta, Yogyakarta, in one trip. I went to a lot of different places. So, all right, I'm going to start my PowerPoint, and I'll talk for about a half hour, and then we'll do some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd invite you. One thing that you can do in my next, this is my Instagram, and I invite you to follow me on Instagram. And I have the automatic subtitles on Chinese. Hold on, sorry about that. I don't know if you noticed that. I usually am doing presentations to Chinese students. Do you have any requests for what the subtitles should be? We have like any language.
I think English would be better. Since I don't understand any Chinese.
I know, but I mean, we could do like French, you know, we could do Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, YouTube or PowerPoint just has this feature. It's just built in.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So this is my Instagram, and feel free to if you follow me right now, you can ask me questions right now. So it's very convenient. And I should say from the outset that, you know, I've got it open, so I will see if you follow me. I am not paid by Instagram. I'm not paid by YouTube, but I am a strong proponent of them. So, okay, let's go back to the beginning. So we'll talk about smartphones and social media. And really, I'm not sure if smartphones are the fourth industrial revolution. They might actually be the third industrial revolution, but I think they have algorithms and they have Instagram and YouTube seem to have artificial intelligence that figures out what you want to see and provides you with it. So I'm just going to talk. Okay, so this is where I am. First of all, I'm in Ohio. It's in the so-called Midwest. And actually, my university is Ohio State University. And we've had a lot of Indonesian students. Tia is here now from Gorontalo, and lots of my Indonesian friends are all over the United States, also on Fulbright grants. But this is a picture of me in Gorontalo in 2000. You know, I think that's wrong. I think it may have been 2014. And this is me when I went to Jakarta and I visited where Barack Obama went to primary school. I don't know if you guys have been there, but it's really worth a trip. And this is me like in a batik. And I forget where that is, but I know that every region has very distinctive batiks. So feel free to put in the chat if you can recognize what region that is based on the shirt I'm wearing. So this is a little bit about my background. So I guess you could call me an English teacher, but I'm not a very traditional English teacher. I was not trained as an English teacher. My degrees are in business economics, cultural studies, and law. But I was always in the English department at Ohio State. And then I got into the English as a second language program at Ohio State. And then I became the director. So I was the director of the ESL program at Ohio State. That's the composition program, the spoken English program, and the intensive English program. We had 3,000 or 4,000 students a year, 50 or 60 teachers. And in the 2 years that I was the director, we took the entire program. When I became the director, the program was still using a very 1980s curriculum and pedagogy. We were just using workbooks and worksheets. We weren't using any digital tools. And the pedagogical style was very much out of the 1980s. And just overnight, we flipped our classes. We adopted digital curriculum, and we really tried to make some great leaps forward. So these are the languages I've studied and the countries I've been to. This is where you could find my publications if you were really interested. And just as a frame of reference, this is our university. So every building you see here is the Ohio State University. This cathedral looking place in the very middle is actually our football stadium. And it is where most of the students and people in the town go to worship at the altar in the religion of sports. You know, sports are very big at our university. So it's no surprise that the largest, most expensive building on campus is the sports stadium. So this talk, if I can get through it, will have 3 parts. The first is the current social media trends. And then I'm going to talk to you about something called the perform culture approach. This is an approach that was designed here in the language and culture program at Ohio State University. And it stresses more than language. It's really about cultural understanding and cross-cultural communication. So it's the perform cultural approach for language teaching and learning. And then there's another part called the online learning of English, which I picked up from some colleagues in France, as a matter of fact. So let's look at, why do people learn languages? There's some very traditional reasons why people learn languages. Usually, and I've spent 15 years going in and out of China, many times in Wuhan. You know, Wuhan University is my home university in China. I've been there more than 30 times. It's really a wonderful place, and it's really a tragedy that the world has come to know Wuhan through the pandemic, because I came to know Wuhan starting in 2004 as just a wonderful and beautiful place with great friends, and most importantly, great food. The food in China in general is outstanding. The food in Wuhan specifically is unbelievable. But so in China, people learn English to pass a test. They really don't learn English to communicate. And they, they might have to pass a test to get a job. They might have to use a little bit of English to do business. They might, some people, when I was in Belarus, people were learning language, not just to travel, but to immigrate. That was one of the strategies for immigration was, I'm going to add that right now, because I know that it's an important reason why some people learn English. But in the perform culture approach, we suggest that people learn language in order to do something, to perform some task, to buy tickets to the opera, to buy food, to make friends, maybe get a boyfriend or girlfriend. You know, there's all kinds of reasons why we might want to use a second or third or fourth language. But we're teaching students and training students to learn a language in order to do something. So here's an example of something you might do if you go to Paris. If you go to Paris, one thing you might do is ride the bus. You know, everywhere you go, the process of buying the ticket, boarding the bus, riding the bus is different. So before I went to Paris in 2019 to teach at the Sorbonne, I watched videos. I watched videos on YouTube how to get on the bus in Paris. And what I learned was, if you don't have a ticket, no worries, you can purchase the ticket from the driver. Now, interestingly, that is easier in some parts of the world than others. I'm headed to Moldova soon, and there's the person driving the bus. In Belarus, the person driving the bus sells the ticket and makes the change while he's driving. In Moldova, there's a person, usually an older woman, who rides the bus and she sells the tickets while someone else drives the bus. In my city, there's no one selling tickets. Like, if you have exact change, you can ride the bus. If you don't have exact change, you can't ride the bus, or you pay $5 when it should only cost $2. So we can use social media to learn how to do things in other cultures. Also, before I return to Indonesia, there's videos how to ride a bus in Jakarta. As one of the most populous cities in the world, getting around Jakarta can be quite confusing. So social media has become a curriculum. To be honest, I have often said, and I truly believe, that YouTube is the greatest curriculum ever invented. It is being updated and revised every day. It is natural. It uses organic language. It is not scripted. And if all of the teachers in the world attempted to build something like YouTube, we would not be able to do it. Basically, YouTube has crowdsourced curriculum. People all over the world are incentivized to create videos that can be a curriculum for people traveling anywhere in the world. So, how social media differs from a typical language textbook. So here is a typical language textbook, Discovering French Today. These are the chapters in a traditional language textbook: food, culture, sports, education. Every language textbook is the same. They have absolutely generic topic lessons. They presume that the teachers can teach all of the lessons. The students are interested in those lessons. And there's almost a presumption that culture and language are monolithic. As you know, French is spoken in North America, in Canada. It's spoken in Europe, in France and Belgium, and it's spoken in Africa, Togo, Cameroon, Senegal. A book like this very rarely can portray all of those different Frenches. You know, we talk about Englishes, so I think we can also talk about Frenches. And even within Canada, there are many Frenches. Within France, there are many Frenches. There's the French in Paris. There's the French in the rural parts of the country. And then in Belgium, there's a different French. In Senegal, Togo, Cameroon, there are different Frenches. So how is social media, how can it complement typical language textbooks? So let's say you're coming to Ohio State University. You can get on YouTube and search Ohio State University, and you can find all of these channels that offer you information about Ohio State University. For yourselves as language and culture instructors or language and culture learners, you can do this. You can also get on Instagram. You can find the Ohio State University accounts. These can be the official accounts, or they can be accounts of students who go to Ohio State University. From within the official accounts, they quite often link to accounts of students. So you can start following Ohio State students. If you get a grant to come to Ohio State University, you don't have to wait until you get to Columbus, Ohio, to start learning the specific language and culture of Ohio State University. So I'm headed to Uganda in a week. On August 5th, I go to Uganda. I am watching a lot of YouTube and Instagram videos. I'm getting on Google Earth and looking at the village I'm going to be teaching in and the university I'm going to be teaching in. We are so fortunate in the 21st century to have access to more information for free than at any point in human history. And we just have to use it ourselves, and we have to encourage our students to use it. What I say often is, it's an Instagram world. We are just living in it. And I don't know if you guys use Instagram, but I did a little research and I found out that Instagram, this is the ranking of the popular websites in Indonesia: Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Those are the 4 most used websites in Indonesia. Okay, so let's talk now about the goal of intercultural competency and communication. The goal is to strengthen personal relationships, demonstrate cultural understanding, join the global community. So you can join a community on Instagram. You can join a community on Facebook. You can participate. You can engage. During the pandemic, I made many friends all over the world without leaving my house. I started following a Scottish guy who was biking around the world with his cat. I started following 2 guys who lived on a boat in England. And I participated in the community of other followers, and I engaged with those people. So I was participating in intercultural communication virtually during the pandemic myself. In the perform culture approach, there's 2 principles. Language is not separatable from the cultural context in which it occurs. Language and culture are intertwined. That's number 1. Language cannot be separated from the cultural context in which it occurs. Number 2, in learning a foreign language, we are actually learning a foreign culture. So I don't know if you noticed, but on my biography page, The first language I learned was Latin in the 1980s, 1982. I was in 7th grade. My school required us to learn Latin. We didn't learn Latin because we were going to speak Latin. We learned Latin so we could learn about the culture of the ancient civilization and the Romans who use Latin, and people all over the world who use Latin. So when you're learning a foreign language, you're not just learning vocabulary and grammar. You should be learning a foreign culture. You're not learning a language, you're learning to do things in that language, in the target culture. Language alone will not help us communicate effectively. And I'll give you an example. I have had students at Ohio State University from China who earned a perfect score on a standardized test. They knew more language. I did not get a perfect score on the SAT verbal when I took it, but I've had students from China who got perfect scores on the SAT verbal, but they were absolutely incapable of communicating. They walk in the room and you say, "Hey, how's it going?" They are completely silent. All they know how to say is, "Hi, how are you?" "I'm fine, thanks." "And you?" "I'm fine too." "Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you too." So if I say, "Hi, how are you?" they say, "Fine, thanks." "And you?" But if I say, "How's it going? How you doing? What's up? What's going on?" When I say any of the things that we always say, they are incapable of responding. They know the language, they don't know the culture. Here's another example of what I mean by words are culturally defined. I used the word earlier, football. Football, I don't know, when I said football, some of you might have thought about American football, and some of you might have thought about what we call soccer. I don't know. I don't know what word you guys use. But when in America, when we say football, we mean this American football, which is a dangerous, brutal, violent, sometimes deadly game. When the rest of the world says football, they mean soccer, the beautiful game. So it's the same word. And there are other words. You know, the most offensive word in the English language is the word that starts with N. We call it the N word. The second most offensive word is a word, it starts with F, but it's not the word you're thinking. It's a very negative, derogatory term towards gay men. And that same word is the word for like a cigarette in England. It's the same word. So it's like the second most FA, it's FA, and you can look it up if you want. But this word, which is the second most offensive word in America, is just a common everyday word for a cigarette in England. So words have a cultural context. All right, so this is the perform culture approach. And what I mean by a performance in the perform culture approach, it's something like this. So let's say there's two Americans in an office. They're having a meeting. You know, you might be surprised, but when someone comes to our office in America, we don't offer them tea, we don't offer them coffee, we don't offer them anything. It's like, if you want something to drink, you got to ask for it. "Hey, I'm thirsty. Do you have anything to drink?" And it's like, no, go get a drink from the drinking fountain. we got to start our meeting. Americans are in a hurry. So in China, they will offer you tea. But when somebody offers you tea, you are culturally required to say no. So if you go to China and somebody offers you tea, you say no. And they offer again, and you say no again, and then they offer you a third time and you say yes. This is called the art of polite refusal. You know, you can't seem really eager. You're supposed to decline an offer. You could be dehydrated, you could be dying of thirst, but if you're a Chinese guy and some China person offers you something to drink, you're gonna say no. And then they offer you again, and maybe if you're dying, you would only say no once. But in ordinary circumstances, you would say no, and then you might just continue to say no, and they pour you the tea anyway. So this is very different. But now, if there's an office in the United States with one Chinese person and one American, you know, if a Chinese person comes in, let's say the American person has learned they should offer tea, they offer tea, the Chinese person says no. If the American person doesn't know the rule, they'll just think, wow, I prepared this tea and they don't want it. I must have got some bad information. I thought Chinese people like tea. So there's rules that govern our conduct. In a Chinese office, if they offer you tea and you immediately say yes, they might think you're overeager or you're greedy because you're supposed to say no. So every culture can be different. And to be honest, you know, I'd ask you, if I come to Indonesia again and I walk into an office and somebody offers me tea, what should I say? Should I say yes? Should I say no and wait for them to offer again? What is the polite way that you do this in your country? You probably do it without even realizing it. But these are the rules that people have to learn when they travel from one country to the next. So for instance, when I went to Belarus, I had to learn no jaywalking. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning, no cars around, perfectly safe, but you do not jaywalk. Another thing in Belarus, you don't smile. There's no smiling in Belarus. Everyday, ordinary, average people do not typically smile. So, what are the rules in Indonesia? How do you say hello? Do you shake hands? Do you hug? Do you kiss on the cheek? When I go to Italy to see my Italian relatives, we kiss on the cheek. Left, right, left. But it's confusing because I always want to go to the right. So if I go to the right and they go to the left, then we're not kissing on the cheek. And that's a problem. So you have to sort of like think about, when I go to a different country, when the plane is landing, I'm trying to change the operating system in my brain. This is what cross-cultural communication is all about. So now let's look at the online informal learning of English. So really what this means is students learning language through Instagram, through YouTube, through Twitter, through Twitch, informally, outside of what their teachers are assigning them. So online means resources that are found or shared on the internet. Informal means anything that's not assigned for a class. Learning is anything that is adding to your knowledge or understanding. English, any of the variations and styles and versions of English. So, you know, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, United States, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, they all speak English. But even within England, even within the United States, there's probably 20 or 30 or an infinite number of variations of English. At every university, there are vocabulary, there are phrases that even I, as a native speaker, if I go to a different university in the United States, they will likely use language for buildings, for activities that I don't know what it means. So there can be an infinite number of language communities within the United States, and you can use something like YouTube or Instagram to find those. If we had more time, I was going to show you this YouTube video about tailgating at Ohio State University. So football is one of the biggest cultural activities. Every Saturday in September, October, November, it revolves around football. And football revolves around the game on the field, but also what's called the tailgate party. The tailgate party is people getting together and eating and drinking and enjoying each other's company and celebrating. And if you were going to come to Ohio State, I would try to take you to a football game, but I would have you watch YouTube videos how to tailgate at an Ohio State football game. If you're going to Michigan, you'd watch videos how to tailgate at a Michigan football game. Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, every university has different cultural practices. So let me just real quick give you a case study from France about online informal learning of English. So every 5 years in France, the Ministry of Education surveys 5,000 teenagers every 6 years. So from 1998 to 2004, there's no change. From 2004 to 2010, there's no change. From 2010 to 2016, there's an increase of almost 16 points. So what happened between 2010 and 2016? What happened? Smartphones, YouTube. Teenagers all over the world go to bed at night with their phone. The best English students all over the world are spending 2 or 3 hours a night on Instagram, Netflix, YouTube. They are immersing themselves in the language and culture that is of the most interest to them. If you look at an English textbook, there's nothing on nails, fashion, STEM science education. This is a case study of a 16-year-old girl who likes math and science in Belarus. Her English was the best English I encountered. She spends 2 or 3 hours a night on her smartphone. These are the channels she watches. So here's the last slide. What do you see? A soccer match, a football match. You see a bunch of people out there playing a game. And then who's this down here in the red jacket? That's the coach. As a language teacher, you are on the sidelines. You are the guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage. Students need to be the players, and you merely guide them to improvement. You coach them. You train them. That's what I think is the fourth generation, 4.0 of the Industrial Revolution. Most classrooms around the world look exactly the way they looked 200 years ago during the first Industrial Revolution. In 200 years, the whole cultural economy, the whole world has changed, except education. Students are still sitting in desks, sitting in rows. The teacher's at the front of the room writing on a board. That's what they did 200 years ago. we got to use technology from the 4th Industrial Revolution to improve education. So thank you for your attention. I can share the PowerPoint with you so that you have it. I really was only able to do about half of the slides. So, you can figure out from the rest of the slides what else I had to say. So thank you very much. And I'll look in the chat to see if there's any questions, and you can raise your hand and just ask me any questions you'd like.
Okay, thank you, Bob. That was insightful presentation. Yeah, I just remember something that thank you very much for the sources because you are the one of the lecturers in Ohio State University. Once I used one of the video, the campus live in Ohio State University as the source of learning to my students, and they are very interested in learning how live in a foreign country as a student. And hopefully one day they have a chance to continue their study in Ohio State University.
That'd be great. We'd be happy to have them.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Bob. We come to the Q&A session. And would you like to answer the question directly, or we just, collect 3 questions first and then you answer them all? Or
yeah, sure. Like, I mean, I see some questions in the chat. Do you have any suggestions how to teach English, including the culture? I mean, that was pretty much the whole presentation. So, you know, get your students, coach them through, let them choose. You know, you can have them choose a YouTube video. You can have them make their own vocabulary list, and then they can present that to the class. You know, textbook publishers usually try to create vocabulary lists. Let students do that on their own. You know, put students in charge of their own education. Here's somebody asking about the Chinese students and the patterns. You know, they are starting to break out of their cultural norms because they're starting to see things differently on places like the internet. But, you know, China doesn't have YouTube or Instagram. China is still watching the TV show Friends. So when I went to China the first time in 2004, the students were all watching the TV show Friends. When I was in China in 2019, they're still watching the TV show Friends, which is very unrealistic. It's very scripted. The language is not normal. The situations are not normal. And so the world is leaving them behind because they are behind the, what do they call it? The Great Firewall.
Good. Okay. Okay, so we have another question from...
Would you like to tell your experience of teaching English with cultural approach and simple activity? So, you know, like, how long do you have? I mean, I could talk for 30 hours. I only had 30 minutes. I mean, I've just had such an amazing career as an English cross-cultural trainer all over the world, you know, and I really find students all over the world are very earnest and hardworking. And I just want to try to give them the tools. And I tell students everywhere I go, like, this is the only curriculum you need. This is the only book you ever need. This is the only teacher you ever need. I mean, one slide that I forgot to include was that my 83-year-old mother went on YouTube last week and watched a video about how to fix the toilet in her house. And she fixed it on her own. And you know, she wanted me to come over. She was like, I'm going to call a plumber. And like the next thing I know, she sent me a message and she said, I fixed the toilet. I watched a 90-second YouTube video and I fixed the toilet.
Wow. We can find everything in social media, right?
Listen, yeah, I mean, when my car breaks down, when my washing machine breaks down, I go to YouTube.
Yeah. Same with me.
If you're gonna encourage your students to go anywhere, they can take virtual trips without leaving the islands. You know, without leaving your country, you can use your phone to be transported all over the world. This is never more clear than it was during the pandemic.
Yeah. Some people call it virtual sightseeing or something like that, just by seeing the video in YouTube. Okay, Bob, actually for the discussion session or Q&A session, we still have around 20 more minutes. Okay, so yeah, we would like to invite other participants who would like to ask questions or share any ideas with us. Please, you can click on the reaction feature on the bottom of your screen and click on the raise hand, or you can type your question or ideas in the Zoom meeting chat, please.
Or just turn your microphone on and ask, you know, it's okay.
Okay, while waiting for the questions and ideas, we would like to remind other participants to complete the absentees form in the Zoom meeting chat. Thank you. So Bob, actually now people have changed their point of view. They don't like reading books at all. They prefer to read ebooks, right? So yeah, people spend more of their times on screen. I don't think people will buy books anymore nowadays.
I mean, the publishing companies have got to be scared to death.
Yep.
Because I mean, when I took over my program, we quit buying books. We started making our own curriculum, letting the students make curriculum. It's better. It's better than the books.
Exactly. And it also provides authentic materials, right? The real situations of the use of English. Okay.
It's individualized.
Yeah. Okay, Ibu Nurul, please.
Okay, thank you, Bob. It's very interesting that you said that let the students make the curriculum. Can you explain more about that? Because
well, okay, so like I said, like let's say, you know, you give an assignment where each student has to choose 4 or 5 minute YouTube video, and they have to watch the video 2 or 3 times, and they have to make a list of the vocabulary they did not know. They have to make a list of the phrases and expressions they did not know. And then, you know, they come in the next day and they give a presentation to the students, or you've got a student group. So I don't know if you guys use WeChat, but when I'm in China, and even when I'm not in China, like I use WeChat, WhatsApp is very big too. Like, you know, every class I teach has a virtual group so that you can send things to each other. So like a lot of times when I'm teaching on Zoom, I've got like, you know, I'm sending them stuff on WeChat, I'm sending them stuff on WhatsApp, but you know, you can have students, let's say they watch a video, they make a vocabulary list, they share that with their classmates. We've got 24 students. Then all of a sudden, the students get 24 different videos and 24 vocabulary lists, and it's chosen by their peers. And maybe they don't know where to find the best videos, but I guarantee you, as teachers, you have students in your class who know more than you do about certain things. And you need to not be afraid of that. You know, in China, the students are deathly, the teachers are deathly afraid that a student will correct them, a student will know something they don't know, because it's so Confucian, it's so hierarchical. The students aren't allowed to have any knowledge that didn't come from the teacher. But, you know, you have to allow for the fact that you've got students who know more about American culture, Australian culture, New Zealand culture. You know, they know more slang, they know more informal language, they know the current trends. I mean, I face this too. Like, you know, my American students, I'm always looking stuff up. When I talk to them, when I'm chatting with them on Instagram, I'm always researching phrases and words that they use, so that I can understand what they say. So, I mean, I think this is a wonderful thing. And I hope that you guys as teachers can embrace that too, because, you know, just empower your students to pursue their own strengths. And instead of, you know, walking into class and saying, okay, class, today we're going to talk about American food. You know, what is American food? Let your 24 students find YouTube videos. You might have vegetarians, you might have meat lovers, you might have pizza lovers, you might have ice cream lovers. Let them come into class with 24 presentations and 24 vocabulary lists and 24 sets of expressions and 24 role plays and dialogues. Let them teach each other. This is what I mean by letting the teacher be the coach. And I think it should make your job easier. I think it should, you know, I mean, that's the goal, right? Like, we don't want to work harder. Well, we want to work easier and smarter and less. We don't want the classroom to revolve around us. We want the classroom to revolve around the students. So that's what I mean. Thank you for your question.
That's great. I will try it.
I mean what I say. We want to work less. Nobody works less hard than I do. I mean, I've just found a system where the students do all the work and they do all the learning.
Okay, I'm interested in hearing that, Bob. Could you please share the tips? Because sometimes when we try to do that, the students tend to, you know, wait for the more instructions from the teacher. Could you please?
Well, you got to change. You know, there was a slide in there. There was a slide in there that I didn't get to talk about. In the perform culture approach, there's really three aspects where we try to make big changes. One is going from textbooks to multimedia. I talked about that. Two is going from paper-based assessments to performance assessments. So I don't have my students do quizzes and tests on paper. I have my students submit 30-second videos or 60-second role plays, or they have to upload a YouTube video or a blog post. The third change that we try to see is going from teacher-centered to student-centered. You just can't have, and that you got to change the way the students think. Because even with some of us, we're not that old, but we sat in the rows and we had teachers who stood at the chalkboard and they tried to teach us language. Sitting in a desk and having someone try to teach you language is like sitting in a desk and having them try to teach you how to dance. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Just admit it. You cannot teach language. Language cannot be taught. Language has to be learned. So you have to communicate this to your students. You have to inspire and encourage them to take over the responsibility. You know, for so many students, education is like edutainment. They think it's like going to the movies. You walk in, you sit down, you got a coffee, you drink, you eat some popcorn, the teacher puts you on a show, and that's learning. That was learning 200 years ago. That is not learning in the 21st century. So you have to change the way students think and act. And sometimes you have to communicate this to your program managers, your department chairs, your provosts. But I get a sense, I couldn't understand what the boss was saying because largely it was not in English. But if they're having this conference, I really think that this is an incredible solution for the challenges you face in Indonesia. Like, as long as the students have phones and as long as they have connectivity, they can learn. They can learn anything.
But do you think that one day the role of the teachers will be replaced by the device?
No, now listen, what they say is like, you know, even Ronaldo has a coach, right?
Yeah.
Even Messi has a coach. Everybody can use a coach, and your students are novices. They are aspirants. They are aspiring to something better. The teacher just needs to be the coach. They need to be the trainer. You know, you have to think of classroom as practice. Messi goes to practice. Ronaldo goes to practice. All the best athletes, all the best musicians, they all go to practice. They all have coaches. That's who we need to be. You know, 100 years ago, there was a book or there was not a book, but all there was the book and the teacher. Well, now there's the book, the CD, the teacher, YouTube, Instagram, there's everything else. So the world is expanding for students, and students need to take responsibility for their education. And, you know, you have students in your rooms who are spending 2 or 3 hours a night on their phones. And I would say that's not a bad thing if they are coached in the right direction.
So teachers should consider themselves as not only the teacher, but also a coach and a trainer.
Yeah, we don't talk about teachers. We talk about coaches and trainers.
Coaches and trainers. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Bob. Wow. Okay, other participants, if you still have questions to ask, please
send them to me on Instagram.
Yeah. Do you have questions on the Instagram, Bob?
Hold on, I'm checking.
Okay. Okay, well,
I see a bunch of people. I see a bunch of people that followed me, so I'll follow them back, and we can engage with each other. You know, we can communicate with each other. That's what I do. That's how you join the global community, and that's how you participate in the global community. You know, one app I didn't even talk about, there's all these apps like Tandem that allow you to find language partners. That's a formal way. There's other ways to find partners. So good luck, and we'll keep in touch, and hopefully one day I can come see all you guys, or you can come see me.
I mean, hopefully. Do you have a plans? When will you go back to Indonesia?
Well, you know, how is travel easy now, or by next summer travel should be safe and easy?
Oh, we don't know for sure yet, because the number of the
you know, next year, the year after, sometime soon.
Sometime soon. Hopefully, Bob, yeah. We have it.
Inshallah.
I mean, thank you. Okay, Bapak Ibu, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, should you have any other questions, we would very happy to invite you to ask to Bob. Okay.
Yeah, keep in touch. Okay.
Yeah, Ibu Sylvia Nanda Putri, please. Okay, as I think there might be a problem with the audio, Ibu. I think it's you're not muted anymore, but we cannot.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, please, Ibu.
So sorry for the technical term. All right, so good night, Bob. Very nice to see you. Thank you for your great explanations about the material. I love all of the things that you delivered to us. Then I have 2 questions. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Erito, and I am an English lecturer from Bina Sarana Informatika University from Karawang. All right, so my first questions is in how the way to create the character of the students while we had online learning. All right, so maybe we have some difficulties as the lecturer to create their character, especially their their good character and communications and having some behaviors. And then my second question is, how do the students could follow our strategy, especially the use of technology like digital learning, so that they could interest in our teaching and learning process? That's all my questions, Bob.
Okay.
Thank you so much
All right.
for,
Thank you. Okay.
for the answer.
So the way that I've always succeeded, to the extent that I have succeeded with students, I have succeeded by in letting them know that I care about them, I trust them, I want to give them freedom, I want to give them some of the power, I want to show them that they're the most important people in the room. And I think that if you can show students that, then you can inspire them to be their best. You know, ultimately, whether your students learn or not is up to them. And it is their life that will improve if they let you coach and train them and help them improve. So that's the first thing I would do. Build the relationship. Build the relationship. You know, we have a saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So let them know you really care about them and you want the best for them. You know, you're not a police officer. You're not doling out punishment. You know, that's not what education is all about. Okay, so that's the first question. The second question was, I forget. I should have written it down. What was it?
How to make a good behavior for the students.
Oh.
We
okay.
We are in a learning on online learning.
Oh,
so
right, online learning.
So
Well,
how
I think
to create that?
Okay, so I the way that, like, again, the way I get the best out of my students is to let them take ownership of the learning. So they can't complain that they're not interested in the curriculum if they're the ones creating the curriculum. You know, there's typical student complaints, and some of them are valid. You know, they're just not interested in the same things. You know, we're just guessing. Textbooks are just guessing. This is what we think students are going to be interested in. And we think every student in the room is going to be interested in the same thing on the same day. It's not possible. So the more that you can use technology to individualize the experience. So yeah, you guys were talking, this is all about the 4.0, but there's also a way to think about it as the experience economy. Like right now in the 21st century, it's all about experiences. We are in the experience economy. And what you want is for your students to have the best experience possible. And the way that they do that is if it as individualized as possible. So try to use social media and technology and the 4.0 tools. And you know, once they start seeking out certain things on Instagram and YouTube, there are algorithms in place that will help put things in front of them that they are interested in. So maybe this is the 4.0 part. Like there is AI at work in social media that gives you what you want. So you just got to help point them in the right direction and help them get the most out of it. Okay, good luck. And let me know if you have any more questions.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. It's getting late over here. Is there like one more question or
okay,
no
thank
more
you.
questions? Okay.
Thank you, Ibu Sylvia and Bob, for the insightful answers. I'm afraid that we have to end the session since
that's
it's already
music to my ears.
It's already late at night there. We are so sorry, Bob.
My pleasure.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to end the first session. But before that, I would like to summarize the presentation from Bob Eckhart. That remember, as a teacher, we need to consider that learning language is not by being taught, but by learning itself. So we need to give students independency to learn themselves. And to do so, the development of technology has provided us with lots of learning sources, one of which is through social media. And as Bob said, that YouTube, for example, has provided us with a complete curriculum. So it consists of authentic materials of how English is delivered, communicated in real life. So it complements the typical language textbooks. Once again, thank you, Robert Eckhart or Bob Eckhart, for such a wonderful presentation. We highly appreciate your kindness in sharing your knowledge. Therefore,
welcome and keep in touch.
Okay, therefore, we would like to present you with a certificate of appreciation. Yeah, this one, certificate of appreciation honoring Robert Eckhart for presenting.
Oh, cool. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is the best we can do. Once again, thank you so much, Bob.
I love it. I love it. And I just put my Instagram in the chat, so everybody should have it.
Okay, so dear participants, don't forget to follow Bob Eckhart, yeah?
Yeah, I'll follow you back. Okay, good night.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Happy and healthy, yeah, Bob.
Okay, ciao.
Bye. Good evening. Me, Ellis Tamela. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for all participants for kindly listening and being involved in the discussion. Me, Ellis Tamela, and Bob Eckhart hand over the next session to the Master of Ceremony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Bob and Ma'am Alice, for the interesting discussion. Now we would like to invite our second speaker and moderator, Ferdous Bakhreibah and Hanafi Wibowo. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, the Master of Ceremony. Okay, let's say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Praise be to Allah who has been giving us some mercy and blessing. Salawat and salam also delivered to our Prophet Muhammad SAW, who has guided us from the darkness into the brightness. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation today is about innovation and challenge on teaching and learning in 4.0 era, held by English Education Study Program, Faculty of Teaching and Educational Sciences, Assyafi'iyah, Islamic University of Jakarta. Ladies and gentlemen, now I will read our agenda today. In this second session, we have first session is opening, and second is introduction, and the third presentation time, and the fourth is question and answer session, and the last is closing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hanafi Wibowo, the moderator of today's webinar. I am very pleased to see you here and welcome to you to this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, and now let's open our meeting by saying basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay. Thank you. The next agenda is presentation session. We are pleased to inform you that among us here, we had Ms. Ferdous Bakhreibah as our invited speaker from Ohio, United States of America. Ms. Ferdous, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How are you in Ohio?
I'm fine. How about you?
Okay, I'm fine too, thanks. Okay, I will read the personal profile of Ms. Ferdous. Okay, here with the personal profile of Ms. Ferdous Bakhreibah. Ms. Ferdous is Ph.D. student from Ohio State University, and she got Master in Gifted Education from Melville University in 2016. And she got Bachelor in Scientific Studies in 2010 in King Abdul Aziz University. And here, her experience. She was a lecturer from Bisha University from 2018 up to now, and vice principal Riyadh Al Salehem School 2013 to 2014 and 2016 to 2018. As kindergarten teacher, Riyadh Al Salehem School 2009 and 2011 and 2013 to June 2013. She was as ambassador of International Peace by International Ambassadors Academy in 2017 and awarded the Students Organization Award from the Professional Development Center at Melville University. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, and now I invite Ms. Ferdous Bakhreibah to start the presentation. Ms. Ferdous, you have 20 or 30 minutes to deliver your presentation. It's free for you.
Thank you, Hanafi, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I think I'm going to continue what Dr. Bob mentioned. I resonate with his belief by saying that the teacher's job is, it's a coach, actually, it's not a teaching method. And I believe that since I was a kindergarten teacher in 2010 until now, I think part of it is like what the teacher doing 90% outside of the classroom. And when they come to the classroom, it's only the 10 minutes which count as a coaching with the student. So we still have the whole 10% we're working at, but usually like the 90%, you preparing the material, you're spending the time for research, you're spending your time for the good story, good reference, organizing, doing all of this behind the scene. So the 10%, which is, as Dr. Bob mentioned, it is count as a coaching, is going to be in the classroom. So today I'm going to share with you something I learned during my PhD program. I'm studying teaching and learning in the Ohio State University. They like to mention the before the state name. So as we all Muslims, I want to mention our Prophet hadith when he said, Zakatul ilm ta'limuh, which means like whatever knowledge and whatever information you learn, zakatu, which the requirement thing that you pay for it, is teaching it for other people. So I want to share with you approach I learned. I modified it to be doable to the audience, which is you from the Indonesian. So I hope you enjoy with it. So our roadmap, I'm a practical student, teacher, and I also a practical student. I like to put all of what I learned in a practical method, so it's going to be doable, and we can practice together. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some activity in 4 groups, and Hanafi will help us to divide the 4 group, and the activity actually have 2 parts. Then we're going to come back and we will talk about this activity. Okay. So let me share with you a drama approach that I learned from my summer school or summer course, the course called Reading Complex Texts for Dr. Brian Edmiston, if someone know him. So one of the reading or one of the quote that I like from the reading was talking about, I'm not sure, let me just a second. I want to put it in the show. Is it better now? Okay. So one of the quote that from the requirement book was talking about the child who doesn't show any interest in the text in the school or in the university level, as many of you you could notice that It's maybe because the textual curiosity is not there and it's not feasible in a particular instruction context. And this quote stopped me, and I was thinking about this. How can we help this student? So let's try it. I have a story, a focal story. I'm not sure if anyone familiar about it. It is a focal trail in Indonesia. I can see Hanafi smiling.
Yes, it's familiar for us. Thank you.
Perfect. Anyone of the audience can tell us more or like summarize the story for us? Feel free to open your mic and share like a summary for us about this story. Hanafi, is there a way to give the audience the mic for a participation?
Yes, it's okay. We are allowed upon all of this audience participation. We open it.
Mm-hmm. Anyone familiar to the story? Maybe we can choose you, if you don't mind, Hanafi. Okay. Are you familiar about this story?
Yeah, it's a kind of story with kind of son who unrespectfully with his mother. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us, like, summarize the story and what happened in the story?
Apa ya? The son cursed as a rock. Yeah. Am I right? Yeah, yes. Cursed to be a rock. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the story is about a male or a son called Malian, and he was living in a poor island, and he was curious to learn more and like collect more or increase his budget by going to another island to improve his living status. And he asked his mother permission since his father was dead. So his mother was the only parents in the picture. So he asked her for a permission to go there. And he promised her that he's gonna come back with money and with a status, and he will improve her living or their living way. And she gave him the permission, and he went there. He worked very hard to increase his salary and his income and his status, and he even get married of one of the richest man there in the big island. And he was so fortunate to marry the daughter of the king, and the daughter decided to take a tour around the islands around them, and by chance they went back to their island, and he saw his mother. And there is like a conflict, or like there is a drama between the son and the mother, and what's going on with them. He tried to ignore his mother and don't give that big a deal of the mother, and the mother was so upset, and after that she prayed for him. She prayed Allah to give him like a punishment or something like this, and he will turn to a stone. And I think the stone is like a big visitor in Indonesia, as far as I know, and everyone is familiar about this story. So we're gonna try like a drama approach to this story. I choose one event from the whole story. As you can see it right now, there is like the bride of Melon, and you can see the Melon is the one who's wearing the crown, and his mother is happy to see him as they arrive. The picture is so vocal. You can see the audience in the picture, and you can read the body language from the whole picture. So I choose this event, and we're gonna do two activity in this event. Okay, so we Hanafi, if you appreciate it, we're gonna be divided to 4 groups. I want you to be inside this story world. I want you to imagine. So we're gonna divide the groups to 4. The group will be the mother group. The second group will be the Marlin group. The third group will be the Aisha, which is the bride who's coming from the ship. And the 4th group will be the audience. I want you to imagine this character in that group. I want you to think what this character could say, what this character may feel, what is their like excuse or reaction or something. And I want you to use the sticky note to share with us. Okay, I'm gonna add it to the chat. We're gonna take like 10 minutes, and Hanafi, if you could divide us please to 4 groups.
4 groups.
Yeah.
Wait a moment.
And could you please write down the role for each group, so it will be easier to know each group to know what is their role in the group.
And then Malin.
Maybe, excuse me, maybe Pak Hanafi, could you please translate it to Indonesia, the instruction before you break out the room? Thanks.
Oh yeah, that's helpful. Thank you, Tia.
Ya, tadi Ibu Ferdous menginginkan untuk masuk ke dalam grup. Jadi setiap grup nanti diminta untuk menjadi atau merasakan peran sebagai masing-masing karakter tadi gitu kan. Ada yang sebagai mother, Malin, kemudian tadi audience, dan satu lagi Aisyah ya. Seperti itu. Jadi kita diminta untuk memposisikan dan merasakan bagaimana rasanya menjadi ibu, Malin, dan Aisyah. Dan yang terakhir adalah audiensnya nanti. Begitu. Mungkin nanti akan saya bebaskan Bapak Ibu untuk memilih ya. Ya, you may choose your role and you can move to another role gitu. Jadi biar tahu rasanya bagaimana, jadi akan saya assign based on your choice.
We're gonna choose what each group will have one role, and they will be the same role with the group. Yeah. If you don't want, I'm not looking for spelling. You can write even your comment in Indonesia. It's fine. Tia or Hanafi will help me to translate it. So don't worry. I just want you to participate.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ya, nanti grupnya tetap sama ya, Pak, dengan tugas selanjutnya. Thanks.
Oke, baik.
Izin, karena ini kita bukan pakai Zoom sendiri, jadi kita nggak bisa breakout room.
Bisa nih Bu Nurul, bisa di sini. Oke. Silakan Bapak Ibu untuk memilih role-nya. Ada beberapa room yang sudah saya bagi. Silakan memilih role-nya. Ada 4 room yang tersedia, yaitu mother sebagai ibunya Malin, Malin sendiri, Aisyah, dan audience.
Maaf Pak, ini milihnya pakai ini,
Join.
tulis di chat.
Enggak, langsung aja di situ ada opsinya kan, join. Join to breakout room.
Maaf, kalau yang di saya belum ada pilihan join-nya.
Apakah menggunakan HP, Bu Herna?
Laptop sih.
Oh, seharusnya sudah muncul karena sudah ada masuk di sini semuanya, beberapa.
Is there a way, Hanafi, to divide them to the group?
Okay, manually. I can put them manually in 4 group.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. I will put it manually.
There is the Aisha room is like 1 person, and Marlin room is 1 person. Can we put more people in this room, please?
Okay, of course.
Thank you.
Bapak Ibu, saya sudah memasukkan ke room-room yang dituju. Tolong di-confirm.
Perfect. Thank you, Hanafi.
Okay.
We will give him 2 more minutes, then we're gonna cancel the breakout room and we will talk a little bit. They're gonna share their experience. Then we're gonna put them again in the break room, the same breakout room, but different people. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay if it is like if someone went up to the same room. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they don't familiar with this feature. Okay.
Let's give them 1 more minute.
Waiting. Some participant join in every room. Bapak Ibu, please give your confirmation. I already moved all of you into every room. We have 4 rooms.
I'm trying to follow up what they're adding, but they still didn't add anything to the picture.
Yeah.
So I have 30 minutes for my talk, isn't it?
It's okay.
So, okay.
Yeah,
How about we cancel the breakout so they can come back because the time is limiting because we want to move on to the next activity.
Okay, we close it, yeah.
Yes. Close it, all of them. Thank you. So welcome back, everyone. I would like for someone to share from each group, someone to share with us what they discussed and which role they choose. You can choose either like by opening the mic and talk to us, which I prefer, or you can write it in the chat. One from each group, please.
Okay, Bapak, please describe your own experience or your opinion based on this character. We already put it in the 4 character, and we need your experience or your information. How do you feel after you put it in that character? Okay.
One of the, yeah, can we open the mic?
Thank you, ma'am answer. I'm so sorry I couldn't turn on my camera because I'm afraid that sometimes the connection is unstable.
You're fine. It's nice to hear your voice.
Okay.
So which role did you choose, Mahira?
I am as the member of mother group. Okay. So in my opinion, it will be very sad to know that our successful son, for example, tried to ignore us, and it is very sick as well to know that he tried to say bad things about us in front of his successful family, for example. In my opinion, the wife or the bride named Aisha here hasn't known about the Malin's mother. That's why it is purely about Malin's behavior that didn't admit their mother because he felt shy to show his poor and maybe old mother to their popular family, because Malin has been a rich man and he didn't want to to say that, oh, she is my mother, she is the person who prays to me every day for my success till now. He was just too weak, I mean, and also because of that, the mother felt so painful and cursed her beloved son, because they thought that the son will miss her back, but the expectation was too high, and the mother just got angry and prayed to God to change that son into the rock. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So her feeling is angry, as you said, resentment, it could be, and there is a lot of expectation. Can we hear someone from the Sun or Marlin group? What could Marlin say in this situation?
Please share your experience as a Marlin character.
Can someone share with us from Marlin group?
Okay.
What could Marlin add, or what can Marlin think in this situation?
Please share your experience. Pengalamannya menjadi tokoh Marlin bagaimana tadi?
So Herlin here, she was in a group of Aisha, and she was shocked. She was happy at the same time. She shared that she could finally make the husband mother. She might say, Marian, is this your mother? Oh, thank you, Herlin. Could we have one participation from the Marlin group?
Oke, satu lagi Bapak Ibu mohon yang sebagai Marlin presenter ingin mendengar pengalamannya. Tadi yang masuk di grup Marlin, tolong berbagi pengalamannya. Oke, one person from Seoul, ya. Maybe Marlin feels shy. Do you think so, Miss Ferdous?
Maybe. So there is no right or wrong answer. We just generate and brainstorm ideas. So yes, Marlin could be shy of his situation. Yes, yeah. Okay, just because the sake of the time and the time is short, we're gonna move on to the next activity. It's the same thing, the Marlin and the same character, but now I want you to choose another position. I want you to choose another group. So if you are a mother, try to put yourself in Aisha position, or try to be in the audience, or you can be a Marlin this time. So I'm going to share with you another Jamboard, and tell us from your new position. Could you think differently? What can the other character say? What can the other character feel? What can be their like situation or their explanation or their reason for their new for the new position? We're trying to understand the perspective of each character and how can they review the same situation, and you as an audience, how can you experience another feeling from the character position? So this time we're going to give you 5 minutes. Hanafi, can you help us to put 4 breakup room? It's going to be the same character, the audience, the mother, Marlene and Aisha. We want you to choose another character than the first position you choose. Thank you, Hanafi. How much? It's going to be 10 minutes more, Hanafi, isn't it? Okay. Let's give them 2 more minutes. Okay, presentation, share, and okay, let's close all the. Could you help me, Hanafi, to close all the rooms to get to take the audience back? Perfect. Thank you. Let's wait until like everyone coming back. Double check. Welcome back, everyone. So I think you will have like another perspective for going from character and character, and I was looking for like one of the audience, if you can open your mic and tell us what did you feel, or what was your role on the first time, and what is your role the second time. You're welcome, Narla.
Okay, Bapak Ibu, please share your experience. Bu Nurul.
Okay, may I? I have a question before, yeah. Can we change the story? I mean that we know that Aisyah is rejected Malin's mother. Yeah. Can we change it? If I become Aisyah and then I show my what's that? I see my husband have a mother, and then I will be happy. Oh, actually, my husband have a mother. It's a pleasure for us. It's pleasure for me because I don't have mother since childhood, so I'm happy to have mother right now. Can I change the story like that?
Yes, of course. Yes, and we're gonna mention that. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, that's a good interruption. Let me ask you first something. What is your first position when you choose this activity?
Mother.
You were the mother.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you feel as a mother?
Exciting when my son is come back, and then sad when he reject me as his mother, and then angry because of his behavior.
Okay. For the second time, when we ask you to choose another character to put yourself in another position, what character did you choose? Aisha, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you change your feeling, you said.
Yeah.
Okay. Why you change your, you mentioned something about like having your own experience of not having a mother-in-law. So you put your own perspective or your own experience or your own feeling in the character, and you want to change the character of what Aisha is feeling to whatever you're feeling, which is something interesting, and that's what we want to do. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So if we have more time, I would like to listen more to a lot of the audience. So please excuse me because the time is short. The idea of this activity is trying to put yourself in another character, in the story world. And the idea is like embody their feeling, embody their emotion, embody their situation, and make it your own. And after that, like as you, Nora, said, you can explain and you can change the story as you want based on your experience. And you can add or retract, accept or reject whatever you feel in the story. That's why I didn't show you the whole story. I chose only one event, which I thought is interesting and have a lot of emotional, have a lot of body language, and you can understand a lot of this. And then I ask you to reposition, which is the whole idea of this activity, to reposition yourself to another character and try to imagine yourself in the other character, what they might feel, what is their emotion, what is the reasoning behind what they're doing. And you can add more or attract more. You can choose either accept or reject their position. You can be creative and imagine more event and make it more violent, or you can make more like lovely environment, and you make everyone happy and a happy ending for everyone. You can choose and do a lot of things based on your experience, based on whatever knowledge you're becoming. And that's the idea. It's like, how can we use the same material we have, the same text, and we make it our own, make it touching to our feeling, make it relatable to our experience. So through this exercise, we did a positioning, which was a character, and we did the positioning. Then we did the repositioning, which is choosing another character. We learned something about the story world, which is like the whole story and what the character will be and their feeling inside this inside this story world. And we learned something called Embody, which is different little bit in which is little bit different than acting, as Embody is talking more about how to speak as the character. And that's what we want our student, whether they're college student or student in grades to learn how to talk as a character. So if I had more time, I was asking you, Nora, to speak as Aisha, not as like other being the Aisha and speak as herself. So through this activity, you can see if you do it with your student, the engagement level will be changed. The student will invest more, will explain more. And that's what we want in our classroom. So let's go back to the first quote I present to you, the student who was lacking the textual curiosity, the student that felt disconnect of whatever you present to them, the student that doesn't show interest to whatever you present. How can we change that? How can we make them involved? It's doing an activity like we're doing, like we did with repositioning. And you can see that we did something about something familiar to Indonesian folklore. I was looking for a story that familiar to everyone. And if it is not familiar, at least the student can see that the setting, the character, the cloth is culturally relevant to them. So as long as you teach something that the student feel relatable, or the student can feel connected, they can share culture or like tradition with them, it will be more engaging for the student. Another tip is like, I'm talking here about the student, like the student seeing themselves, or like the student in your college seeing themselves in the text. Like for example, I teach I teach at the college level. So if I teach my student as a student, it will be different for them because they're not just student. They're a student and they're pre-service teacher. So whenever I teach them, I keep reminding myself, I am teaching the teacher how to teach something, which is something important for me. I need to give them a tool to put it in a use. It's not just any tool, it's a teacher tool. So for example, I'm teaching back home, I taught like mathematics and science concepts. So whenever I give my pre-service student a math concept, I remind myself that I'm teaching how to teach. It doesn't matter for me if you don't know how to count. It doesn't matter to me if you didn't know the term of the science or the term of the mathematics. What is important that the student or my pre-service student know how to teach this concept. So as long as the student or the children see themselves in the text or in the books, it will be related and they will encourage their curiosity to learn more. Another thing to consider is all of this text, all of these books, is it connected to their real life? Is it connected to their emotional? Is it connected to their event? Is it connected to their celebration? All the texts, all the books need to be sustainable, need to be related, they need to be something they can find it outside. Like for example, for mice, when I taught in kindergarten, a lot of the story was American background, American homes. This is not the way that our home looks like. This is not the way that our school look like. This is not the way that we dress like. So it always was disconnecting between all the picture, all the books, and whatever the students see in their real life. And we need to understand that. And the same applies to our college student. If you want to teach them something, keep in mind that it's something they can put it in use when they go to practicum class. It's something they can put it in use when they go to their own future room. Keep in mind their social status. Keep in mind their the information. Keep in mind a lot of things. Like for example, we have in Saudi Arabia, we have the Vision 2030. We have so many radical change in the country that we need to address it in our classroom. So as long as you connected whatever you're doing in your classroom with the real life, whatever they say outside of your classroom, the student will be engaged. Another tip is give them the chance to interpret whatever knowledge they're learning throughout their background. as Nora said, I want to change Aisha's position. I think that Aisha need to be like, supposed to be happy. So she interprets whatever going on in the character or in the story based on her own experience. And that's what we need to do with our students. We need to give them a chance to interpret everything based on them. And it's related, I think, to whatever Dr. Bob was talking. He was talking about like how to connect them with the social media, what's going on outside, and connect it with their own experience. Another tip is like teaching these students to be expert, evaluate their experience, evaluate their background, evaluate their participation, evaluate their opinion. And in a different level in a college, you can see that the students have their own opinion. The students have their, like, I remember something, like I always remembered my student, like they cannot keep up if I talk for 10 minutes straight. And I always joke with them. I said, you are the snapshot generation. And they laugh at me. I said, yes, you are the snapshot generation, because you give me 10 seconds either to caption your opinion or your focus, or otherwise you will be disconnected. So that's what's happening, what's going on. Like you give me 10 seconds. And I need to validate whatever you bring in the table. You give me 10 seconds. So I'm gonna, in my classroom, I usually have a lot of activity to engage the student, to ask their opinion, to make them participate. And at the same time, I appreciate that in their world, it's a short time. So they don't want that much information, that long information, that deeper knowledge. They want to explore more. So I want to give them an opportunity to participate inside my classroom throughout doing an activity that they can participate as a group or as individual. And there is a lot of idea if you want to search for it. Also, what I learned from my summer course, which was so interesting, is what do we count as reading and what do we count as a text? And I think it's similar to what is teaching for you. And as a teacher, we need to stop a second and think about this. I was doing always that without realizing what I'm doing. I always know that my students don't read the required book. And I'm not sure if you agree with me, please write in the chat. My students really in Saudi Arabia hate reading. And especially since the requirement is a higher language and it's so complex. And they said, like, you make it simple. It's the same information, but the action of sitting and reading the text, it's so hard for them. So I'm doing something different. I'm bringing something different. I'm bringing activity. I'm bringing the same text in the classroom in a different way, in a practical way, which is what we're doing, for example, in this activity. In this activity, we review the culture. We could review what is the culture mean? What is the dressing mean? What is, how did we involve the reading in this story? So a lot of teaching will change if you stop a second and think about what you want to teach your student, what is important for you. Bob mentioned something so interesting. He said that I want to teach beyond the text. And this is also what I want. I know that it's not easier to do. I resonate with this direction because I have the same limitation. Like, they ask me to give my student a test. They ask me to put a grade for my student, and I have to do that. But at the same time, I found a gap in a system doing like a practical thing, doing an activity in the classroom. For me, it's important for them to participate more than attendance. In the first day, I told my student, I don't care about your participation. I don't grade your participation. I'm doing something different. Whether you come or not, it doesn't matter for me. But out of respect, please come and show up on time. It's okay if you come late and sit in the classroom. It's fine with me. I don't care. What I care, what you're doing in my classroom. I want you to participate. I want to hear your voice. I want you to write your voice. I want you to express yourself. This is the most important thing. So if we think and stop to understand what we're teaching and what is what we value in teaching, I think will have a lot of impact. Like, for example, we're not looking for the text or like the what they can pass in the test. We're looking for like their skills. We're looking to their behavior and what they can learn. Another tip, which is like the whole summarize for all of them, to make these texts meaningful to your student, to give them a chance to make a meaning of this, whether it is a story, whether is it a method, whether it is a knowledge. We need to make it meaningful for them using all of this strategy and more. And this is the drama experience. I try to put it in the story that familiar to your culture and background, so it will be easier for you. You can modify it, you can choose another activity, but these are the main tips that could help your student who doesn't find the textual or the classroom curious, or they doesn't show their exciting to the classroom. I tried a couple of them in a different way, but I think it's useful whether it is for a college student and or student in a grade. Last thing I want to finish with advice, think differently. We have a lot of people who think the same, who follow the rule, who follow the textbook. We need the people who innovate. We need the people we need teacher to be different. We need these. And in your journey, find your people, find the people who share your thought. They share your enthusiasm. They share your expectation. And we can help each other by being in a group and keep going. A lot of questions come to me, especially for my graduate students. They ask me, what kind of job should I do? What kind of job should I apply to? And I always tell them, any job related to your major. Just put yourself in a field. Keep doing whatever you're doing. Keep the wheel spinning, because that's the most important thing. And last but not least, it's stay hungry. As long as you're willing to learn as a teacher or as a student, to be humble and put yourself as a student position, you will learn more, and you're gonna be open at the door for your student to learn more. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for having me. These are the reference for the activity that we did. And here's my contact.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ferdous.
I am here for the next 15 minutes if anyone want to ask something or add something.
Okay, yeah. Will we open question? Just one question, yeah? We need to open it?
Okay, how can I open it?
Okay.
From the chat?
No, I mean, I just invite one question. May I?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You can invite as many as you can.
Okay. Yeah,
I have a
due to our limitation, I'm sorry, we just open one question ya, karena udah jam 11 malam di sana, jadi saya hanya mengundang satu pertanyaan mungkin. Silakan. Okay. If you have some question or comments, you may ask to our presenter today.
Good morning.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for the time, Mr. Hanafi and Ms. Ferdous. I want to ask about your experience. Have you ever taught vocation in a vocational school before?
So I've been a student in a vocational classroom, but I never taught in one of these courses.
Okay. I want to ask your opinion. How, if you teach in a vocational school and then you need to relate your materials and also the the field of their skill? How do you relate your material? Do you have any examples of that? I mean, I'm interested. And your activities before repositioning. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
It is repositioning. Yeah.
Yeah. If we teach, for example, narrative text or simple past, we can use those kind of activities. But how can we relate the activities to the skill, the major? Yeah.
May I ask what kind of topic you're teaching?
The topic or the subject?
The subject or the topic, yeah.
English for tourism.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's
Thank
related.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. I think it's related to these 7 tips. It's always about like what you make. You will find out what is culturally relevant to your audience. Whatever the subject you're teaching, you're gonna find something culturally relative to them. And always thinking about like what make your audience or your student interesting. So I never teach in a vocational, but I think if you're teaching English for tourism, it will be the same as we're teaching a regular course to our student. We need to understand our audience. You need to invite them to your classroom. You need to create an activity for them to engage. It's going to be different subject, but like, for example, there is a lot of games like the snake and tail, like you put a lot of topics and they can choose. It's always about what kind of the tool you're using and how can your subject connected to their life. So I think, I'm not sure if I answer your question, but I think it's all about how your subject related to your audience. And this is the 90% that the teacher has to do behind the classroom to prepare herself when she comes to the classroom. And remember, make your classroom fun, make them more active. If you talk more in your classroom, I think there is a big questioning. You need to stop and listen to yourself. If they talk more, it will be more enjoyable. For me, for example, I have to have in each class a mug for my coffee and a chocolate. So to give them a chance to work and to do the activity while I'm eating my snacks. They think it's a break. For me, it's not a break. It's all about, I want my student to engage and participate more than me talking to them and lecturing to them.
Okay, thank you. Can I have any, any comments? Or is the time
1 minute, yeah.
out?
Just 1 minute.
Okay. Ms. Ferdous, if I modify your activities, for example, I teach about something in the past, the places in the past, like because I'm from Bali, it is I show the picture of Pantai Kuta, for example, in 1990, and then I asked the students to tell their opinion if they were in that time. Is that repositioning as well?
Yes, it is. But remember, if you want to do it, you can divide it to character as we did, and you can get roles in each activity, so they can choose a role, imagine what they're going on, the feeling and the thought, the questioning. Then you ask them to change it. So through the history, what this character may change, what this character may innovate, and how the history will change based on the action of this moment. This is so interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so the key is there must be some rules.
Yes. You choose an event, as you said, and you divide your student into roles. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hernaya. Okay, that will be the end of our question today. Thank you, Ms. Ferdous, for your sharing. It is very impressive. Due to our limitation, I do apologize that we have to finish our meeting. And now I will make a short summary from your presentation. We have some tips here. The first, we can engage students' interest by choosing the best material based on students' interest. Yeah. And the second point is curiosity is very important. We can let them by choose their way and give them a chance to be what they want to be. And the last point I got from your material is we have to teach like an expert, yeah, by think differently. Okay, thank you, Ms. Ferdous, for your sharing knowledge and experience in today's discussion. I have something special for Ms. Ferdous. Would you please to take it? Okay, wait a moment. Yeah, here our appreciation for you for your giving such interesting presentation for you, and I hope you can take it and save us our memorable appreciation. Okay.
Thank you so much, Hanafi, and thank you for the university for hosting me. I'm so happy to be a guest in your university always, and I'm always happy to see all of these faces, especially since like I never been in Indonesia, so it's always interesting for me to go there since my mother from Indonesia, and it's always interesting to see all of your faces and share some knowledge.
Okay, hopefully you will come to Indonesia one day.
Inshallah, one day I'm planning for it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
so much.
before we end our meeting, let's take a picture together to bring back memories with Miss Ferdous. Please turn on your camera, dear audience. Please turn on your camera, please. Okay, I will take it. One, two, three. Hold on. Okay, and the next slide. Next screen, I mean. Hold on. One, two, three. And the last screen. One, two, three. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your coming at today's webinar. This is the annual program of the 7th Students Research Expo 2022. We hope to see you on the second day of the 7th Students Research Expo 2022. See you tomorrow. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ferdous.
Thank you, Mr. Ferdous, Mr. Hanafi.
Okay. Thank you very much for Miss Ferdous and Mr. Hanafi for the very interesting discussion. And dear participants, for your information, this webinar is the opening session of the English Education Study Program of Assyafi'iyah University Presents International Seminar. We would like to invite you to join our next event, Enriching English Vocabulary to be a Global Speaker at 1 a.m. This afternoon. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was the end of our international webinar today, and hope to see you all next time. Thank you for your participation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Terima kasih
wabarakatuh.
Bapak Ibu semua sudah hadir.